There have been new developments on Capitol Hill after President Trump tweeted a shot at Republican Senator John McCain for calling the recent Yemen raid a failure. The operation was President Trump's first known crack at being commander-in-chief and resulted in the death of Navy SEAL Ryan Owens and at least 20 civilians, according to the Yemeni government. Although the Pentagon says that al-Qaeda terrorists were also killed and intelligence was gathered. President Trump tweeted, quote, "Senator McCain should not be talking about the success or failure of a mission to the media. Only emboldens the enemy. He's been losing so long, he doesn't know how to win anymore. Just look at the mess our country is in, bogged down in conflict all over the place. Our hero Ryan died on a winning mission, according to General Mattis, not a failure. Time for the U.S. to get smart and start winning again." The notion that the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator John McCain, not to mention a Navy veteran, a former POW, and a war hero, the notion that he should not be talking about the success or failure of a military mission, that's an interesting one, especially for a president who has spent many of the last few years criticizing various U.S. military missions. CNN Phil Mattingly is live for us on Capitol Hill with all the latest developments. Phil, CNN caught up with Senator McCain today on the Hill. What do you have to say?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as the president was clearly moving to escalate this situation, round about 17 of the back and forth between Senator McCain and President Trump over the last 15 or 16 months, Senator McCain took a different tact. At the first, when I caught up to him, he declined to comment on camera about the tweets at all. And then I caught up to him and he made, Jake, a similar point to what you were making. He's the Senate Armed Services Chairman, and he's going to continue to do his job. Take a listen.
That's what I have to work as my responsibilities as chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and that's what I'm about. Nothing more. There's nothing more to answer.
So not willing to engage in the tit for tat there, Jake. And one thing to keep in mind, though, his colleagues more than willing to jump in. And it wasn't just Republicans defending him or Democrats attacking Donald Trump. We saw it from both parties today, including his very close ally, Lindsey Graham, who made a very important point. Take a listen.
One thing I would advise the Trump administration is don't oversell success. It's never a failure when you engage the enemy, and when you lay down your life to defend the homeland, you're a hero in every sense of the word, and I don't think anybody in the body has been more supportive of our troops than Senator McCain.
Now, Jake, advice to the Trump administration, but also that key point about Senator McCain, and you noted, Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman, he is a key piece of any plan moving forward on national security policy. He's a key senator on any issue that the Trump administration would like to move forward on when it comes to defense issues. He's better inside the tent than outside the tent, a valuable ally, and one that President Trump just continues to attack. We've seen it for the last, I don't know, 15, 16 months, Jake.
Yeah, it started with him saying that Senator McCain wasn't a war hero. He was in a Vietnamese POW camp for 5.5 years. I'm not exactly sure what President Trump was doing at that time. But let's turn to his cabinet nominees, because many Democrats today came out strong against a couple of the president's nominees.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the interesting issue here, and this is particularly pertaining to Andy Puzder, the nomination to be Labor Secretary, is it's not just Democrats who feel like they have an opening with this nomination. It's Republicans who behind the scenes are telling me, several Senate GOP aides, that they recognize this is the most problematic nomination they've had. And the reasons are multiple. There have been a lot of former workers for Andy Puzder who have come out and complained about his tenure running a restaurant group. But there has also been the admission that he employed an undocumented immigrant for several years. Now, that has been the type of thing that has sunk other nominations in the past, but it's important to note Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell behind the scenes has been telling his members that this is a nomination they have to get through. This would be an excellent labor secretary. Senate leadership, Jake, still saying that they believe they will get the requisite 51 votes to get him through the Senate. But as I said, Senate Democrats think they have an opening here. They think this is their best chance to sink a Trump cabinet nominee. But for them to be able to do that, they need Senate Republicans to come over. Why they have confidence right now? At least 4 have said they are now withholding their support from Andy Puzder. His nomination or confirmation hearing, Jake, which has been delayed 3 times up to this point, is now finally on the books. It'll happen next week. It'll be one that we should all keep a very close eye on.
All right, Phil Mattingly on Capitol Hill for us. Thanks so much.